Hey everyone, Dan here with Fanatik. Now, if you follow mountain bike social media at all, you've likely seen a new shoe company popping up all over the place. That's Ride Concepts. They've got a stacked roster of athletes riding for them, vouching for them. They've got the whole Atherton family. They've got Kyle Strait, they've got Sam Pilgrim riding these shoes, and Paul Bass is heading up the team. He's their team manager. He's kind of the one that reached out to everybody, said, hey, we've got a very cool new product. What is that product? Ride Concepts. This is a company that was formed about 2.5 years ago. They launched in September of 2018, so you wouldn't have heard of them before then. But Brandon Dodd, a veteran of the outdoor industry, saw what was going on with sort of what was essentially a monopoly in particularly flat pedal footwear for mountain bikers, and said, I think we can do something a little different, a little better, possibly. So he reached out to a couple of friends, a couple coworkers, brought in more recently some talent from the footwear industry in particularly FiveTen, and developed Ride Concepts. Now, what is this? This brings in his connections with D3O. It brings in connections with Rubber Kinetics. That's sort of an industry giant as far as rubber engineering goes to develop these shoes. They've launched 16 models, but for now we have 2 available. These are both from the Session series. They've got 3 series. The Session series is sort of a little more pedaling focused, a little more slim profile. Then they've got their Flow series, which has, for example, the closed inside ankle to protect you from your crank arms, and then finally the Launch series, which is for downhill, free riding, that sort of thing. Now, all of these have D3O, I mentioned, incorporated into the shoe itself, specifically in the insole. Now, this is my pair of Hellion shoes, which I've been riding for a couple months now. I'll talk to you about this model in particular, but if you take a look at the insole here, you'll see this very orange compound that you probably recognize from your knee pads. It's a viscoelastic material, so that means it hardens, it sort of solidifies almost on impact. And if you've ever bruised your heel, you'll know that this is a really nagging injury. It takes forever to go away. I slipped a pedal last summer. I think it took 6 months before my ankle was fully healed. I would put a foot down in corners and stuff, and it would send shooting pain. So I, for one, am really happy to see this. In their Brillier lines of shoes, they also incorporate D3O throughout the shoe upper itself. But for the Hellion, which is what I've been riding, they've really incorporated a lot of features to make this a long-lasting shoe. This is a $130 shoe, sort of in direct competition with FiveTen's Freerider Pro is kind of what it is sort of similar to, reminiscent to. This is a $150 shoe, $130, but it's got a lot of features that I think really stand out. Things like the elastic lace stay. You can see once you tie your shoelaces, you can tuck them in to this little elastic band. It'll keep them in place so they don't untie themselves and get tangled in your crank. Things like the oval laces that you see here as opposed to the flat cloth laces, these cinch down on themselves and hold together much better than a flat lace does. They've got a dual layer foam on the whole upper part of the shoe to help protect you from if a rock gets chucked up, lands on the top of your shoe. A really solid toe box, which is a feature I always look for in shoes. If you've ever smashed your toes against a rock or a root, you can break your toe pretty easily when you're mountain biking, when you're going fast. Polyurethane molded heel cup and toe cup. And then a cool feature is the dual compound outsole. So this is something that you'll see, for example, in FiveTen's Freerider, which is a very popular sort of entry-level $100 shoe. They have this single cup outsole. These are not as stiff. They wear in a lot more quickly and break down a lot more quickly. In mountain biking, you want a really stiff sole because that eliminates any hot spots that you might get over long periods of pedaling. This, like I said, the $130 Hellion really long lasting. It's got their mid grip rubber compound that they have used their Hexagon lugs in. So it is not quite as sticky as FiveTen's stealth rubber in my experience, but I've been riding these for 3 months now about, and there is little to no evidence of pins wearing away the rubber, which is something that happens extremely quickly with FiveTens. Oops, dumping dirt everywhere. They experimented with a lot of different lug shapes and found that the Hexagon pattern really locks in your pedal pins. If you're a flat pedal rider, that's really what you're looking for. You're not looking to spend $130 on a shoe and have it wear out in 3 months. Moving on to their Livewire. This is again a $100 shoe, so in direct competition with the Freerider, but it brings over a lot of the exact same features that the Hellion does. It has that same elastic lace stay, the same oval laces, a really hard toe box. It also includes the D3O in the insole, that same Hexagon lug pattern, as well as the same rubber. It's got sort of a more of a street styling, so a lot of people wear their Freeriders out on the town as their everyday shoe. A lot of my coworkers are in these right now and just wear them around the shop all day, and they love them. They're standing all day. They think they're super comfortable. I've only used mine mountain biking, but in both case scenarios, it's been a hit. Obviously, they've got some women's colorways, and they're actually a slimmer shoe width-wise, so a lot of women have narrower feet. If you don't, I've got a couple friends that have opted for the men's shoe in the past just to get a slightly wider footbed, but they've got women's and men's options in both the Hellion and the Livewire. Now you will see the rest of the models sort of trickling in as they get released. We do have all these up on our site, or at least the 2 models that we have in stock. And if you have any questions on this stuff, like I said, I have been riding these for a couple months. Please don't hesitate to ask us below in the comments. You can always give us a call at 844-FANATIC or shoot us an email at sales@fanaticbike.com. My coworker Rich will be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching, y'all. We'll see you next time.